don't know where these 3,000 jobs are coming from. Unemployment has gone up every month under his government. And perhaps he should speak to farmers and small business people and find out what those working people think about his government. Mr. Speaker, I'm not talking the country down, I'm talking him down.
The clash was expected to be routine, but what unfolded was a political demolition. Keir Starmer walked in confident, armed with buzzwords, rehearsed lines, and economic soundbites. He thought he'd corner the debate, dominate the narrative, but he didn't expect Kemi Badenoch sharp, direct, and absolutely unforgiving. Every talking point Starmer launched turned into a weapon in her hands. But was Starmer really left speechless? Or was this just another case of empty rhetoric? Exposed. Let's break it down. Starmer tried to posture as the economist in chief, tossing around buzzwords about taxes and growth. Textbook political theater. From the start it was clear these were pre-packaged lines, crafted to sound slick on TV, not to answer anything real. Then came Badenoch's first precision strike. She asked him the simplest question, his stance on income, taxes and economic fairness, a basic pitch, the kind of softball any leader should knock out of the park if they actually understand their policies. But what followed? Silence, hesitation, and a moment where the entire chamber went still, because that's the moment. Everyone knew. This is where leaders either shine or crumble.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Yesterday, the head of the OBR warned the government that higher and higher levels of taxes are bad for growth. Does the Prime Minister agree?
Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, I'll tell you what's bad for growth. 14 years of a Tory government. That's what stagnant growth for 14 years, leaving a £22 billion black hole. What we've achieved, Mr. Speaker, in the first quarter of this year is the highest growth in the G7, something we promised before the election. Investment of £120 billion into this country, which is a record in the first year of any government, and 3 trade deals, all of which will boost growth.
And crumble. He did. Instead of defining what he stands for, Starmer stumbled into tired talking points, blaming past Conservative governments as if he were still on the campaign trail, not sitting in the seat of power. He threw around flashy numbers about growth and investment, like tossing confetti to distract from the fact that he had nothing real to say. But the truth was plain for anyone watching. He was exposed. Behind the polished image, Starmer looked unprepared, hollow, and deeply uncomfortable under pressure. Why couldn't he give a straight answer? Because there isn't one. Labour's stance on income and tax has been kept deliberately vague, a strategy designed to give them room to raise taxes later without ever having to admit it now. This was the moment viewers at home saw straight through the act. Starmer wasn't talking to the chamber, he was talking at it, relying on applause from his own benches to drown out the fact that he had just dodged the one question that mattered most. It was the first clear warning sign. He's not ready. Not for real debate. Not for real scrutiny. Not for real leadership. And Badenoch had only just begun.
Mr. Speaker, he's talking about what he achieved. We just heard that inflation is up again, the worst in the G7. We left him with 2% inflation. We have a borrowing up, unemployment up, taxes are up under his government. The fact is the Prime Minister doesn't get it, so let me tell him. His budget last year had high taxes. That's why the economy is contracting. But, Mr. Speaker, the government has said that they won't put up taxes for people on modest incomes. But they also seem incapable of explaining who is in that category. So can the Prime Minister clear up the confusion and tell us what he thinks a modest income?
Badenoch knew she had him cornered, and she didn't waste a second. She went in hard, laying out the facts. Inflation up, unemployment rising, taxes crushing ordinary people, all under Starmer's watch. This wasn't about history anymore. This was about now, his record, and he felt the heat. Then came the knockout. What exactly do you consider a modest income? It should have been the easiest question in economic policy. Every serious leader can answer it. If you can't define modest income, you don't understand the tax system you're enforcing. And Starmer, he froze. Instead of a clear number, he launched into a cloud of emotional waffle, vague praise for hard-working people, but no definition, no detail, no policy. It was like asking a chef for a recipe and hearing, "I just really love cooking." That kind of dodge might work on a campaign stage, but not at the dispatch box. And Badenoch wasn't letting him off the hook. This moment exposed not just as a man without answers, but as a man without substance, a leader who memorizes slogans but crumbles under real policy pressure. A vision of fairness built on feelings, not facts. The humiliation wasn't in what he said, it was in what he refused to say. Because sometimes, Silence says it all.
Mr. Speaker, I think of the working people across this country who put in every day and don't get back what they deserve, and that's who we're working for. That's who we're fixing the country. The sort of people that work hard but haven't necessarily got the savings to buy themselves out of problems. And, Mr. Speaker, that's who we're working for, and that's why we put the national living wage up. That's an extra £1,400. The national minimum wage up, that's £2,500 a year. The triple lock, Mr. Speaker, that went up pension up £470. And of course we're extending childcare, opening free breakfast clubs and free school meals. We know exactly who we're working for. She comes here every week and just talks the country down.
Mr. Speaker, I'm not talking the country down, I'm talking him down. I asked him what a modest income was. He answered what a working person is. He doesn't know what a modest income is, and even on working people, they cannot define it. The Chief Secretary to the Treasury said that working people are people who don't get a payslip, but millions of self-employed people don't get a payslip. So are the self-employed next in line for a Labour tax rate?
After dodging the modest income question, Starmer felt the pressure rising fast. Instead of owning the moment like a serious leader, he panicked. He unleashed a feel-good shopping list: wage increases, free school breakfasts, triple lock pensions, and anything else he thought might earn a cheer. But it wasn't leadership, it was noise. A desperate attempt to trade substance for applause. Badenoch waited calmly and then cut straight through the act. She pointed out what everyone was thinking. Nothing, he said, answered the question. It was pure theatre, scripted lines for the evening news, not real answers for the British. People cornered Starmer, changed tactics. He threw mud. He reached into the past, digging up old Conservative policies, trying to paint the Tories as anti-self-employed and untrustworthy. It was a clumsy pivot, a clear attempt to distract from the present where his own government is under fire, and that told the country everything Starmer doesn't want to talk about now because the reality is indefensible. He wasn't leading, he was deflecting, and that's humiliating when you're the one sitting in the Prime Minister's chair.
I don't know where these 3,000 jobs are coming from. Unemployment has gone up every month under his government. And perhaps he should speak to farmers and small business people and find out what those working people think about his government. But, Mr. Speaker, that's not all. We know the Chancellor is launching a review into pension contributions. It's as clear as day why this is. It is because the government is considering taxing them. Does the Prime Minister agree with me that a tax on pension contributions is a tax on working people?
Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, we made absolutely clear manifesto commitments, which she asked me about last week and we're keeping to. I'm not going to write the budget months out from the budget. But, Mr. Speaker, I'm proud of the decisions that we took to invest in our NHS, to invest in our public services, all the decisions that they opposed. And it's no wonder that after a first year of a Labour government, business confidence is a 9-year high. That's longer than she's been in government. Mr. Speaker, 384, I'm not withdrawing, I'm going to repeat. Business confidence is at a 9-year high.
Badenoch smelled blood and went for the kill. She shifted the focus straight to the ground. Small businesses collapsing, farmers drowning in costs, pensioners terrified of Labour's tax traps. This wasn't theory. This was people's futures on the line. Starmer, he replied with the same stale optimism: confidence, investment, growth. It sounded like a recycled press release, not a response. It was like watching someone try to put out a house fire by saying, "Don't worry, the building's modern." Then came the knockout. Badenoch exposed the hypocrisy. While working people might face tax raids on their pensions, Starmer's own pension is legally protected. Boom. That hit like a freight train. Because this wasn't just about policy anymore, it was about character. She didn't need to shout. She just showed the truth. Here's a man happy to raise your costs while shielding himself from the consequences. That cuts deeper than any statistic ever could.
Mr. Speaker, he says he's not going to write the budget, but his Chancellor is on the front of the Daily Mirror talking about what she's going to do on taxes. So why can't he do the same in the chamber? Yes. But I asked him about pension contributions. The truth is he doesn't want to talk about pension contributions. It's all right for the Prime Minister. He has his own special law to stop his personal pension from being taxed. But let's be honest, Mr. Speaker, this is really about choices. My party knows that there is an alternative to tax rises. It's cutting spending, something that they are too scared or perhaps too weak to do. We offered to work with him to reform welfare and make meaningful savings. But his refusal sent a signal, and now the cost of borrowing is rising. The budget is in November, that is months away, and the markets may not wait. What will the Prime Minister be doing over the summer to get a grip on the cost of borrowing?
Badenoch didn't just criticize, she delivered solutions: cutting wasteful spending, reforming the welfare system, saving billions without punishing working people. That contrast was devastating. She had a plan. He had excuses at that moment. Starmer's body language told the entire story: arms crossed, posture tight, eyes scanning for an escape. But there wasn't one dot in just a few minutes. Badenoch didn't just tear down his talking points, she tore down his credibility. Starmer didn't look like a leader. He looked like a man overwhelmed by a job he doesn't know how to do it. It wasn't just a debate. It was a masterclass in political exposure, and everyone watching knew who won and who crumbled. So now the question is clear: is this the kind of leadership Britain deserves? A Prime Minister who stumbles on the basics and hides behind empty slogans? Let us know in the comments, how long can Starmer dodge reality before it finally catches up? And if you want more videos like this one, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for the latest updates on British politics. Until next time, stay tuned.